Synergistic effects. Combining different types of drugs with alcohol can compound the effects of both substances. The effects are multiplied, making your body's reaction to the substances unpredictable. It is never wise to combine alcohol with drugs, whether they are illegal or prescription. The results can vary from person to person and may depend on the person's physical conditions and the amount consumed. Some side effects of combining drugs and alcohol can include increased visual impairment, slowed body functions, slowed reflexes, and slowed thought processes. There also may be a likelihood that other drugs or medication may have been consumed. To control the effects of alcohol, there are different steps you can take to help you remain conscious and in control. Monitor your intake of alcohol and keep track of the number of drinks you consume. If you no longer want your drink, set it down or dump it out. There is no obligation to finish a drink if you don't want it. Keep an eye on your mixed drinks so you know how much alcohol is in them. Don't drink on an empty stomach. Make sure you eat before and/or while drinking. You can also drink water between alcoholic drinks to stay hydrated. Space your drinks out so you are not consuming too much in a short period. Many medicines can affect the way one drives. The law doesn't need to specifically state which drugs are involved. Alcohol tends to enhance many of the dangerous side effects of different drugs. This can include those prescribed by a doctor or purchased over the counter at the pharmacy. Check with your doctor before driving when taking medications. Read the labels on over-the-counter products. It's your responsibility to educate yourself on the possible side effects of medications. Drugs that are taken for colds, headaches, or allergies tend to make people drowsy. This will have an immediate effect on your ability to drive safely. Taking any drug can affect your ability to drive, especially when you are combining different medications or drugs with alcohol. The effects can be unpredictable and dangerous and should not be taken lightly. Read labels for any drugs or medications you take. Even something as simple as cold medicine could make you drowsy. Look on the labels for warnings that indicate they may cause drowsiness or dizziness. Avoid driving if you are taking any drugs with this warning. You can be arrested for a DUI if an officer suspects you are driving while impaired, even if the drugs you consumed were legal or prescription. Watch out for drivers that might be impaired. You can identify them by erratic behavior like inattentiveness or swerving. If you notice another driving and you suspect they may be impaired, keep a safe distance. Note the license plate, and as soon as it is safe, pull to the side of the road and call 911 to report a drunk driver. One phone call could save lives. Cell phones. It is best to pull off the road safely and stop if you are going to use a cellular telephone. Trying to dial, answer, or talk on a phone while driving can divert your attention from your driving and can be dangerous. While operating a motor vehicle, both hands should be on the steering wheel. This allows the driver full control of the vehicle. Safety belts, child restraints. Arizona's safety belt law. All front seat occupants are required to have the lap and shoulder belts properly fastened and adjusted anytime the vehicle is in motion. If the vehicle only has a lap belt, it must be adjusted properly and fastened anytime the vehicle is moving. It is the responsibility of the driver to ensure all passengers in the front seat and those under the age of 16 comply with the law. The combination of a shoulder and lap belt reduces the risk of being seriously injured or killed in a crash. The lap belt helps to prevent you from being thrown from the vehicle as well as protects the lower part of your body. The shoulder belt is designed to keep your head and your chest from striking the windshield or the dashboard. If your car is equipped with both shoulder and lap belts, both should be buckled to keep you safe. Being safely buckled greatly reduces your chances of being ejected from the vehicle in the event of a collision. Keep in mind that belts with only a lap belt can increase the risk of spine and abdominal injuries. If your vehicle doesn't have shoulder straps, it may be wise to have them installed. The cost of the installation is nothing compared to the cost of one's life. Arizona drivers are required by law to wear a properly adjusted seatbelt. The seatbelt must be in proper working condition and should be worn anytime the vehicle is in motion. Your seatbelt is the best safety feature that your vehicle provides. There are no excuses as to why drivers and passengers should not be fully utilizing their safety restraints. One fallacy that we often hear when it comes to safety restraint usage is that you should not wear a seatbelt if you are pregnant. This is not true. If you are pregnant, that is even more reason for you to wear your seatbelt. Seatbelts save lives, but only if worn correctly every time you are in a motor vehicle. You are far more likely to be killed in a crash if you are not wearing a seatbelt. In a crash, your seatbelt keeps you from being ejected from the vehicle, from being thrown against other passengers, your steering wheel, or your windshield. Behind the wheel, where you can control the vehicle, wear both the lap belt and the shoulder belt. Wear your lap belt around your hips and wear your shoulder belt across your chest. Your seatbelt will not work if it is tucked behind you. Airbags are not a substitute for seatbelts. Your seatbelt can save your life in the event of a collision. Did you know that there are technically 3 phases involved in one collision? The 3 collisions include the vehicle collision, the human collision, and the internal organ collision. A vehicle collision involves the initial impact of your vehicle on another object. This is the most common image that comes to mind when road users think of a traffic accident. Human collision is what happens to the people inside the vehicle after it makes contact with another object. The law of motion states that all things will continue to remain in motion until some force slows and stops them. In the event of a vehicle collision, the contents, or humans, inside the vehicle will continue to move until something stops them, like an airbag, dashboard, or windshield. The internal collision takes the human collision to the next step, just as the contents of the vehicle keep moving until something stops them. So do the contents of our bodies. Our internal organs will keep moving at the same speed until they hit major blocks in our bodies, like the skull, the skin, the ribs, etc. This is why the internal injury is so common in many accidents. The victims of the accident may look completely fine on the outside, but there could be internal bleeding or damage as a result of the accident. The phases of a collision are worsened when unsafe speed is an added factor. When you double your speed, its force of impact is quadrupled. When you triple your speed, the force of impact is 9 times greater. Driving is a dangerous task. Why wouldn't you want to take every safety precaution when it comes to getting behind the wheel of a vehicle? The first step begins with buckling up. Child safety restraints. As a parent, it's important to understand that seatbelts are not meant for young children. They should be properly fitted with car seats until they reach a height of at least 4 feet 9 inches. If you see a vehicle with unrestrained children, you can report them by dialing 1-800-505-BABY. Provide the vehicle's license plate number as well as the location of the vehicle and the location of the child in the vehicle. Making this phone call could help save a child's life. According to Arizona law, you cannot operate a vehicle that is transporting a child, (REN), under the age of 5 unless they are properly secured in a child restraint system. Never place a child in the front seat of a vehicle if the passenger side airbag is on. Children under the age of 12 should always ride in the rear of the vehicle. If a child must ride in the front seat, make sure the front passenger side airbag is off. They can be seriously injured if a crash occurs and the airbag deploys. Make sure a child safety seat is properly installed before placing a child in it. If it is installed incorrectly, it may be even more unsafe than if they are not restrained at all.